Victory equals this. Good morning, my friends. Good day. And we're off and running. We're almost to the new year. Christmas is past. But what is victory? What does victory mean to you? How can I help you attain victory? We're going to talk about victory and we're going to have a great day today. So let's get it.
Preview.
Todd is not only a remarkable, successful 30-year titan in business with having multiple businesses that generate multiplied millions of dollars.
And if that plan happens to be to build $1 million company, which I can help you do.
But he's humble. He's a man of God. He's a family man.
The world's news organizations are built on everything but positivity.
He is an influential entrepreneur and business speaker for over 30 years.
I've got to forecast. I've got to pronounce. I've got to project. I've got to share with you my ideas, my vision, my goals for not only myself, but for you.
That's why he's came up with his incredible concept of taking and creating a platform for people that are wired differently.
And you got to understand that your habits of your person and your habits of your business and your habits of your spirituality have to lead to the North Star of who you are. We need to figure out who we want to be in life.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful day here in Florida, and I'm not sure where you're at, but I know you're listening, and I know you're looking forward to another glorious day in your life. Obviously, Christmas is past, and we've talked about a lot of things this last year, and it's just been an amazing year, a podcast year for Chad and Chris and Heather and Jeannie and Abby and the whole Wired Differently team. It's been just amazing. I cannot believe, I guess we always kind of go through this every year, but like a year has passed. Time goes and just things flow, and it's just kind of one of those things, and you wake up and you're like, man, was that Christmas? Is 2023 gone? Are we in this cycle? We're in this process of New Year's resolutions and all this stuff and how the new year is going to be and what we didn't like about 2023. I think it's interesting though that the older you get, seemingly the faster time rolls. And so I want to confess to you this morning that I have a show for you. Don't worry, I have a good show. I have a good message. But it's interesting how the whole thing kind of works out for me. Yesterday, I did my first full day on Salem Media. What an experience that was. We did the show in the morning, and yesterday's show, it was good. It was on point, but I think I was 4 days of Christmas cookies and sugar trauma that I shouldn't have been going through, and that show didn't really give me the feelings I needed, and I knew that I needed to go live at Salem Media that afternoon from 3 o'clock to 6 p.m. And I went there, and I got there early, and I prepped and we did the show, and I got to tell you, it was very good. It was great. I was super proud of the show. I know I can do better. I get 4 full days there, filling in for a legend by the name of Bill Bunkley. The show runs from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., so it's 3 full hours. I had a great guest, Darren Gray, on there, and he was remarkable. And my producer, Joe, is there behind the glass, and he's very helpful. So it's just really a great experience. It was an endurance thing. It's not like this half hour I get to, I kind of thinking about after yesterday, I'm thinking I did the morning show, and then I did the 3-hour show, and I got up this morning, started to prep, and I'm like, wow, man, that's not so bad. I just got 30 minutes, and then I get to start preparing for 3 hours. And so I'm just kind of processing all this, but I really want to stay to the true core of what this morning message is, or the Wired Differently experience is. And it's to share you growth, right? I want to help grow you personally. I want to help grow you spiritually, and I want to grow you profitably. And so I have a message. I have 2 messages this morning, and if we get to the main message, it'll be fine. But I always start with the verse of the day. So I literally have a motivational teaching, and today is, what is victory, man? How can you have victory, and how does victory look? And I had this in my head, and I had it all put together, and I got my points up there, and we're going to talk about it. But it's interesting how the passage that I got this morning at 4 o'clock in the morning. By the way, we had a phone call last night at 2:30 in the morning, and I'm just going to share that with you because I think that's really the premise of what my show is today. Nobody wants 2:30 a.m. phone calls. But they happen sometimes, and we have to learn to deal with them, and we have to understand life is just this rolling ball of menace at some times, and God is here to sort it all out for us and give us the courage to go on and to have victories. So I'm going to tell you about the 2:30 a.m. phone call here in a little bit. It's a sad phone call, and I think it's going to derail some of my victory speech and maybe move some of it till tomorrow. But the passage I got this morning, I'm just going to read to you, and I'm going to tell you why we're going to shift a little bit here. Is that Psalm 73:26 was one of 150 psalms in the Old Testament. And the psalms were wrote by David and Solomon and Asaph, and this one, probably 7 or 8 other authors of different proverbs of some 150, exactly 150 proverbs. And proverbs were songs and messages and encouragement and life lessons. They're short little chapters in the Bible, and the Bible app pops up, Psalm 73:26. My body and mind may waste away, but God remains the foundation of my life and my inheritance forever. Now, that particular psalm this morning hit me relatively hard because of the 2:30 phone call. You know, you can't align God's message in life. They just kind of happen. And when I kind of move through these Bible app verses and I plan these messages around what God gives me in these messages, I feel like it's a calling of God. I feel like, he's speaking to me through his word in the Bible and the timeliness of it. And so I want to share something with you. My wife is amazing. I've talked about her often, probably not enough. Thank you for all the viewers out there this morning. Amazing. I really appreciate all of you. But I want to give you an empowering message this morning, but I want to give you actually a sad message in some regards. But I want you to understand that I put the topic together of victory yesterday, and I put the topic together of drift and some of the things on how to become victorious. And then God gives me Psalms. And then at 2:30 this morning, we get a phone call that my brother-in-law, Jody Lynn Foltz, born in 1964, February 12th of 1964, died at 2:30 a.m. Now, a lot of you don't understand, that what I'm telling you. It's very sad when you hear that somebody dies and you hear like, oh no, 2:30 phone call in the morning. But the message I want to talk to you about this morning that parallels Psalm 73:26. Asaph wrote this. And Asaph was what was called a singer and a seer in David's court. He was a singer, but he was also called a seer. And Asaph was kind of like a prophet, but they called him a seer, S-E-E-R. And he saw things into the future. He saw things in the past, and he communicated these things to King David and people around him. And he was just like this clairvoyant, really cool dude. And what he did was write some of the Psalms, and he wrote this, and I want to read it again to you. Some of you, if you're out there, I see a lot of comments out there. If you want to write this one down for everybody, that'd be great. My body and mind may waste away, but God remains the foundation of my life and my inheritance forever. And so when you get a 2:30 phone call and somebody passes away, it's shocking. It's uncomfortable. You don't know what that means and how that it means. But I want to give you a preface. Jody was a special man. He was 60 years old, almost 60, 59. He was my wife's oldest brother. My wife Tracy has two sisters, Terry and Trudy, 4 children of Gary and Jan Foltz. And the first child that they had was Jody Lynn Foltz. This doesn't mean a lot to everybody, but it should mean something to almost everyone. He was born with Down syndrome. He was a miracle from the day he was born. He was a high-functioning Down syndrome. And he touched everybody along the way of his life. Not a moment was he not representing the Spirit. Not a moment was he not clean of sin. Not a moment was he not unhappy. Not a moment. I mean, he had his moments, but man, he was literally a hard charger, man. He won the Special Olympics over and over and over again. He had a job over and over again. He took care of his parents. He took care of everybody around him to his own capabilities. I mean, he was just a brilliant young man. Then he became a brilliant middle-aged man, and then he became a brilliant, wonderful old man. But the story here is victory. The story here is Psalm 73:26. Jody didn't just pass away easily. Yeah, I know he was a fighter and all that, but I don't understand why God took the time he took to let Jody pass. 5 years of challenges and home movings and assisted care and wear and tear on the family. It was a love story between my wife and her older brother. And I feel like I was a little calloused to the whole thing because I just didn't understand their bond. I didn't understand, I fell in love with Tracy when I was 15, 16, and she came around 19, and we've been together more than half of our life. And so I've spent, almost 25 years with the Foltz family and Jody and Tracy. And I just never really understood that growing up period where she protected him in the school systems and she protected him out in the wild and she protected him, and they just had this bond. And the story for me is watching my wife care for this man in his last days. Because I know Jody knew the Lord, and I know Jody gave it all and left it on the field. I did. I know he was that guy. But he just wasn't Jody the last 3-4 years. He just couldn't talk. He couldn't move very well. He was bedridden the last year or so. And we just didn't know how he was going to go. We celebrated it. We didn't celebrate it. My wife spent hours and hours, and the whole family was fantastic. But I had a front row seat to my wife and Jody. And the reason I'm telling this story is because when I get this Psalms 73:26, and it says, "My body and mind may waste away," I wanted to share with you and help you understand that that's exactly what happens. This is exactly what we witnessed with Jody. His mind and body wasted away. It wasn't taken away easily. It wasn't taken away falling asleep. It wasn't taken away reading a book. I had a uncle died this week and he fell asleep reading the Bible. I mean, it wasn't anything kind and generous like that. It wasn't anything easy. And my emotions aren't for Jody in the pain that he went through. He was comforted in an amazing hospice bed with people around him and the most beautiful grandeur. It was gorgeous. And I get it, but my mind and my soul and my heart was with my wife. I've never seen her talk to a person the way she talked to him in his coma. I never seen a person love and cry the way I saw my wife treat him. I never experienced watching a person decay in front of my eyes. And I think that's the message that God has given me through this. I think this is the message that I want to share with you. And this is the image that I want you to understand is that we will decay. Our body and mind will go away. Right? And at 2:30 this morning, we got a phone call, and actually it was a glorious phone call. Because he is in heaven. He is. The pain, Jody wasn't in pain. Jody was in hospice. They do an amazing job. I don't know if anybody knows about hospice, but at this place called Tidewell's, it's phenomenal. We walk in there and the government pays for it and took care of him. And he had this beautiful bed and a beautiful TV, a beautiful bathroom, a beautiful hallway, and beautiful people around, and helping some 14 people all in the same building end their lives in a comfortable way. Jody would move and he would make noises and he would suck on a sponge water straw as he was passing through time. It was just, I don't know. I mean, I think it was a perversely amazing thing to be a witness to. But what I want to share with you this morning, and I want to share, and we'll talk about victory in more of a wired differently way tomorrow. But the victory that we have today is this victory of God, this victory of Christ, this victory in Psalm 73:26 that Asaph, the seer of David, had shared with us in Psalms. My body and mind may waste away, but God remains the foundation of my life and my inheritance forever. The foundation of Jody's life was God. Every moment, Jody was the first to get to church. He had his seat in church. He sang very awfully. He was not a good singer, but I was told, I didn't get to see him sing much in church, but Tracy told me he would love to sing Christmas songs and Old Rugged Cross and all kinds of songs. He was off team, but he knew who his maker was. He knew what a simple life he had, and he lived it. And I just want to kind of bring this story around this morning and encourage all of you to understand that victory comes in many, many different ways. Like victory comes in victories in battles. Victory, I have a definition of victory. Victory is an engagement ending in triumph, the ultimate and decisive superiority in any battle or contest. Think about that. So we're always in a battle. We're always in a contest. We're always moving through life, and we have to move forward. We've been talking about that all last week. I always talk about moving forward. We have to move forward. My wife is moving forward. But I got to tell you, yesterday I got up in the morning and did my show, and we both left sometime around 8 in the morning. My wife went to hospice, and she took her computer and she sat with Jody all day and worked in his hospice room, just her and him. She deep down was just praying that she could be with him when he passed away. I did all my stuff. I went to Tampa at 3 p.m. I did the show from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. I called her. I said, how you doing, babe? She goes, I'm still here working away. 6 o'clock at night with Jody in this hospice room, banging away at the keyboard and just being with her brother, right? Just wanting to be that moment, at that victorious moment when Jody passes. Now, listen, you may say, why is it victory when he passes? Why do you have to spin this around this way, Todd? Because at the end of the day, what I'm trying to share with you is Jody's life was victorious. The day was victorious. The 2:30 a.m. phone call was victorious because of the setup. At 7:30, I rolled by hospice and stopped in to see my wife, and there she was with her sister Terry and granddad Gary, who's, I think he's 85, 86 years old, watching his son literally decay in a bed. And Grandma Jan was there in her mourning moment, just confused and perplexed of why God took this long and how he was going to end up doing all of this. But it was clear that the moment was close. They all stayed till 9 o'clock last night. Tracy was there from 7:30, 8 o'clock till 9 o'clock, and family was coming and going, and I just wanted to be with him, but God didn't do it that way. At 2:30, the call came. And Tracy was relieved. I was relieved. And so I don't want to belabor this, but I want you to understand that, listen, I am a human. You are a human. And when we see things like this, my body and mind may waste away, but God remains the foundation of my life and my inheritance forever. The first piece of this verse, my body and mind will waste away. That is a guarantee. I'm watching my own father's mind waste away. I'm watching my mother's mind waste away. I'm watching Gary and Jan's body wither away. I'm watching many people in my lives who are getting older and changing in life. I mean, this is one guarantee God has given us, that you can actually see with your life. You don't have to be a believer. You don't have to believe in Jesus Christ to realize that what Asaph is saying here is true. The body and mind will waste away. Guaranteed. Guarantee you, the body and mind will waste away. Now, I'm preaching this morning because, I literally have to use this moment to encourage you to know that that day is coming. It's far, far away for so many of us. But at the end of the day, we don't know the day nor the hour. We don't know the day nor the hour, Luke says, of Christ coming. We don't know when we're going to go or leave this earth, right? But when you watch somebody play out the scene, as it said in Psalm 73:26, my body or your body, all bodies, minds may waste away, will waste away, right? God gave me that image and then gave me this verse. Guaranteed. And the only thing that we have to push that back is the promise of God. Jody knew Christ from an early age. Jody lived in Christ's word. He was a simple-minded person. He was a Down syndrome. He was happy most all the time of his life. For the most part, he literally skipped through life cheering other people on and encouraging other people on with his happiness and his joy and his zeal for the world, right? He was a lock. The day he was born, God had him in his hand, right? He was a miracle when he was born. He's a miracle when he died. And the message he's giving me to give to you this morning, this beautiful morning at 2:30 a.m. from the phone call is that it is true. Your mind and body will waste away, but the foundation of my life and my inheritance forever remains in God. So I want to challenge you this morning. I want you to understand Jody and not let a story like this or his life go unnoticed, right? And my wife's heart, as she spoke to him and laid beside him in bed. My daughter Kara crawled in bed with him. My daughter Courtney and Kendra all love him so much. All of Angola, Indiana, and Prairie Heights, and he touched so many people. But the message I think that Jody was sending us from the time he was born till the time he passed last night at 2:30 in the morning was his Psalms 73:26. His mind and body will waste away, but his foundation is God. I think God didn't take him quick because he wanted us to understand that the only lock is our belief in him. And I think he wanted the world to understand, that people that hear this story, that we literally had to watch him waste away. That's the only thing I can think of. And so I wanted to share that story with you. I want to encourage you in your life. I want to encourage you on victories, because Jody was victorious. His story was victorious. The family is now victorious. Today, we're going to be celebrating Jody. We're going to be celebrating what a joy he was in life. We're going to be celebrating that he now is healed. And I had this image last night of Jody as a normal, strong, tall, bald person. Jody lost all his hair when he was born. And I had this vision of me and the family walking around up there, and he just rolls up and smiles, and we're like, Jody? Is that you, Jody? Man. God has put him together as a whole, normal being. No pain, no abnormalities, no suffering. Just chilling up there with Peter and the rest of the gang. I'm grateful for that vision. I'm grateful for Jody. I'm grateful for my wife. Jody Lynn Foltz, February 12th, 1964 to 2023. The older brother of Tracy, Joe Foltz Sailor, my wife. I'm proud of you, Tracy. I wish I could demonstrate love the way you showed me and taught me. I can only tell you this, honey, that I know that when the time for me to go happens, I'll go before you. I know you're going to fight just as hard for me. God has demonstrated your character time and time again. A piece of me is grateful for that, and a piece of me is, man, I hope it goes quick for your sake. It's a long time from now, but I just want you all to understand that God has given us this victory. Even though we will deteriorate in flesh and mind, God will put us back together whole. Tracy, I'm just glad it's over. I'm glad he's with God. It's been 2 years of secret pain for you and the family. And Jody is victorious. And you, honey, are victorious. You're a role model. You're a legend to me. Psalm 73:26, my body and mind may waste away, but God remains the foundation of my life. Is God the foundation of your life? Prepare that foundation of your life for your loved ones, friends around you. And let's enjoy life as long as we have it. Let's really, really make it work for us. God bless you guys. We'll have a great show tomorrow. Rest in peace, Jody Lynn.